Okay, so let's begin. Um, in this stream, what we are going to do is we are going to create an app for Teams. Um, we will use this Teams AI library that is built by Microsoft. It provides with a working sample that we can use to quickly uh, put together an app. So under getting started, it has this jump right in section where it talks about this Teams Chef bot app, which is a OpenAI powered AI bot, which will just work as a like a ChatGPT chat, but with some flavor added to it. So if you see at this prompt template, uh, it it's instructing the AI to be a chef and then explain things in a way that a chef does. So giving examples or analogies from cooking. So that's what we will use to quickly bootstrap a project. Um, so for that, I will simply go straight into my VS Code. Let me find it. It's here. Mm. Okay, we have a way to create a new sample app using the Teams toolkit that you can download for your VS Code. So Teams toolkit is basically where you can uh, develop Teams apps quickly. So once you have installed the Teams toolkit extension, this one here, once you have installed that, you will see this tab on the right, which will open this for you. So if you haven't opened any app, here you can create a new app or view samples. So I would go and click on view samples, and here you can see all different kinds of bots and apps that are using different different integrations and all that that you can choose from. And we will specifically use the last one, which is the Teams Chef bot that we saw on the GitHub repository here. So I will click on that, and here there's a create button, which is there for you to create a new instance for yourself locally. I'll create one here. I don't know if I need to. Okay, it just created one for me in a default directory. So now this is an issue because I have now different IDE. I'll have to fix that on OBS. So here I'll have to switch to code team chef bot 1, which I do not see yet. Yeah, this is actually I do. Yeah, this is it. So it created a new project folder for me named teams chef bot _1, which is because I had one already that I was working on before. So here you have the same readme file with all the instructions, and basically your source code is just this one index.ts file. It's in TypeScript, and the whole bot script is just this 121 lines of code. So this is doing all that is needed to build a ChatGPT for Teams. So for this to work, I'll first have to run yarn. I'll just run yarn here. I think it said somewhere to set the API key for OpenAI. So we need that key to be set there, which is the file somewhere here. So local user, this is the file where you would add the secret for OpenAI API, and that I will do secretly. Let me change the window to this one. I will just bring in the secrets I have somewhere else. Just a second. Okay, so now I have set that up. With that set, now we should be able to just run the app to see what happens. Press F5 to run. It will run in debug mode using Edge, which will open up in a moment. There. So it seems like it ran. I should be seeing a browser. So yes, I have an Edge browser open with my login page for Microsoft account. I'll have to log in. You will not see it because it's on a different browser, so bear with me for a second. I need to log in. Will take a little time because I also need to do two-factor authentication. I have my code. Okay, I'm logged into my Microsoft account. It loads Teams for me, and then it will open the apps gallery, where it just shows the description of the Teams Chef local app, which is our local app that we're running on the on our node server. Press add to add the local bot to your Microsoft Teams. You'll see a new tab with Team Chef local tab, where you can. This is hard to just show because now it opened on different window. Let's see if I can open the same URL on my okay, I can't because it's a okay, so let me just try something. What can I try? I can try opening the okay, let me move that window onto my screen, and here I will now have to duplicate. Okay, now you can see my Edge browser where I have the local Teams Chef app open. So now let's see if it can answer something for us. So how do I change this bot? Okay, it answered saying, "Hi there, my name is Teams Chef. It's nice to meet you. Changing a bot is actually quite simple. Think of it like baking a cake." So he's giving us chef examples. You start with the ingredients, which in this case would be the code for the bot. Then you mix them together and add any extra ingredients you want, such as new features or commands. Finally, you bake the cake, and voila, you have your new bot. I don't think if that has helped us, but anyway, it did its job. So now that it's actually using OpenAI to get the answer for. It knows that we are asking about Teams chatbot, or something. We can go back to our code here, where we can go to the prompt. So this is the prompt we are using right now. and it says the following is conversation between AI assistant. His name is Team Chef, and Team Chef is an expert in Microsoft Teams app development, and human is junior developer. So it will treat the user as a junior developer who's trying to learn Microsoft Teams app development, and itself as Microsoft Teams app expert. And it says here explaining things, parallel concept of cooking and all that. That's why we were getting those interesting examples of baking and all that. So you can change this template as you wish and then make it work for you. And you'll be simply using ChatGPT or OpenAI's API to do stuff in a similar manner with some variation or customization. So it's a chat model using your chat history and all that. So you have your code here where you're okay, let me minimize or just make this a little smaller. So here you have your application initialized with the AI configuration. There's something called planner, something called moderator, and prompt manager, and prompt chat. This will make this AI to be a chatbot, or it will work as a bot that will chat with you. What I was trying to share was it's using the model here, Text DaVinci 003, and moderation is enabled to both AI and the human. So basically that's it. So moderation handlers are here, and history. This is the like just to show you what's stored in history. You can simply type that command and you would see what the bot is using as the chat history. And this is the actual command where it's doing the OpenAI API calls and all that. So that's simple. What would you want me to do here? So you could say conversational AI. Its name is I don't know. It can be anything. But for this application, what I was going to show you was using this chat bot to use to work with your own data. So if you're working in an organization where you have lots of documentation, guidelines, processes, and procedures, it can be overwhelming for a new starter, or even if you have worked in an organization, big organization for a couple of years. There are still processes that are very specific and very complex, and you need to maybe just read through a lot of wiki pages, lots of different places where you could find different kind of information you're looking for. So the main objective of this app would be to use all those different sources of data and answer questions that are that you could answer from those sources instead of OpenAI itself. So in this case, before I was working on the Teams app, I was using Langchain to do same thing, which is working as we had planned to, and I would also want to use the same kind of flow process in this application. So simply, what I was going to do is update this prompt to use a different prompt that I have just copied from Langchain. So I'll just replace the whole thing, or actually say just this. Okay. So we still want this chef to be there, the chef, and we want it to use some context that you'll get from somewhere, and use that context to answer the question. So you still have chat history, and you still have input, and at the end you want assistant to say something. So only thing we added is this context here, otherwise everything else was there initially. And the thing changed in our prompt instruction is that we are now saying use the following piece of context to answer the question at the end. So there will always be a question from assistant, and if you don't know the answer, just say that you don't know. Do not try to make up, right? So that's just because we always want to have a factual answer to the question that was posed. We don't want to just make up some answers. So that will fix that for us. So whenever there's a question and the AI doesn't find any context that has answer to that question, you will just get I don't know, or something like that. So here the challenge is now to get the context there. You have everything else, just the context is missing, right? How to get the context? So to start thinking about that, we should probably go through how the app is currently working. So it's using all these bot builder and all those libraries and SDKs that are provided by Microsoft. So bot framework authentication, all that is a boilerplate, just needs to be there to work. Nothing to do with our app. Maybe the authentication, all these multi-tenant, this probably should change if you're trying to build an app for your own organization only. Something that I need to consider. So all that is there, and error handling. So if some error occurred during a turn, it will return some message saying some error has occurred and fix it or something. And finally, there's a there's a Restify server running, which is a Node.js server that just a plain HTTP server. It will listen at some port, which is defined through the environment variables, and I think this default is always what Microsoft will use at the end, or however that works. You don't have to touch it for now. Once it's running, it will be running, and then comes the application itself. So for a chatbot application here, to initialize that, we want a storage to store the memory, and then these AI options. So AI options would include a planner, which is defined a bit up here. So do you want to log requests? Do you want which model you want to use? And a moderator configuration where you want who to be moderated. Again, all of them are always there, and you just keep it, just don't have to change anything. And prompt manager is quite interesting. Here we are using default prompt manager with our prompt file somewhere, which is using this prompt file. I had tried changing stuffs like using this prompt manager class, doing stuffs which I think didn't do what I was expecting it to do. So for now, this is all you do. Just show it where your prompt file is, and there's a config JSON as well for the prompt, which will, for example, take different parameters for your AI. I would reduce this to 0.3 so that it would not change the way it answers to something very so it sticks to the answer more, or it doesn't have variation, lots of variation. So this says it's a completion type, which is actually different from chat type, I guess. But we have our memory, chat history, and all that in place, so that shouldn't do anything different. So now, again, back to where we were, application initialization. We have prompt manager and then prompt chat. So this is probably setting it as a chat bot. And then history, default, and then there are few actions. So these are for moderation things. If there was something flagged, it will return some error. And app.message is this is the message handler where you're handling very specific messages from users. So it just match regular expression and then does something special in some special cases, like when you type /history, it was going to do some different stuff than normal. And at the end, this is the actual handler for the API call, where you're going to do the OpenAI stuff. So this app.run function is actually doing the prompting or request to the OpenAI. So that's how the application is set up. Now back to what we want to change. We want this escape prompt get something in its context, right? So if I go back to actually I would just use this edge now to browse as well. So here I will open a new tab. So this is the library, and here what we are trying to do is okay, so I will have to search. What I want to search is, oh my gosh, German. What? There's no English. Australian English. Okay, here I want to search for Teams AI bot prompt engineering. Sounds interesting. So let's see if we found something useful here. Prompt engineering. So this is a page where we were recently, and that particular section didn't have anything. So let me try to find so here, this is the section we wanted to visit. Here it explains how prompts work, where to find the prompt template itself, config JSON, and all about the configuration and the description about those configuration. So here under prompt template section, it lists these options for us to use to inject anything dynamic into our prompt templates. It could be a function, which is a registered function. There's a way to register any function to this AI object, AI class. It can be input coming from the message, and it can be history, which are both already used in the prompt template we got, and it can be a state property. Out of all these, I had tried to work with both function, register function, and state property, out of which function did work for me. I wouldn't go with what didn't work, because we just want to go straight to the happy ending, right? Now, how do these registered functions work? Let me go back to code. So this context here is trying to get this get context here, which is a function actually. So it's a registered function. If it doesn't find I don't know how it's parsed, but when you have get context, it will try to see if there is any registered function that has same name, and to add a registered function, what we can do is we can go to our index.ts file and use the prompt manager, which was defined up there. Because we are trying to work with the prompts function, we can add a registered function to our prompt manager, and the function name is provided as a string, and then what that function does is this callback. So you have access to the context, which is the so-called turn context, and then something called state. I won't be using state. I will just be using the context, because all we want is something from context. What we want to do in this function is, first of all, if I just return this is the context I want to set now. Right, so I would say this is the context I want to set dynamically, and just doing this would actually I just okay, let me use my touchpad because its battery ran out, and then I have been just using it without battery. Oops. Okay, cool. So if I just set that with that static string, hard-coded string, um, let's watch the terminal while I make a request to the bot via the Teams app. So now I'm just going to say hi to the bot, and there you go, it started something there. And now we have this prompt template being logged, which has everything we wrote, and with the context here set as the text that we added there, hard-coded. And this is the context I want to set dynamically, is what we want to set it dynamically. So this is supposed to be the context that is coming from your knowledge base or your repository or all that. So the way you do this can be however you want to manage this. Basically, if you have an API, for example, your organization has my org API, right? So let's say my org API has a search function, and search function can take a for example, prompt or search string, right? For example, where is our where is our headquarters? Where is our headquarters? So if this was a query coming from the user, you would use your my org API. So maybe it's an async, so you would say const context equals, right? So this would be, or say, so now we have a conflict with the name of the variable. We would say context text, just to keep it different. So now you have your API where you search for the string that user just entered. So user just asked, where is our headquarters? And then you are supposed to run that query in your organization's API and say your organization has huge database of files, and probably one of the PDF was somewhere which had information about the headquarters of your company, and it returned a chunk of that PDF file, like including the information you were looking for, plus a few paragraphs that were unrelated to the query, but it came back anyway. So now what happens is, now you want this text context you wanted to send to the prompt. You would now context text. So what this will do is, you know, my API somewhere sent this chunk of data, and then that has probably the information that user is trying to search for. Now what this does is your custom data comes back, or your company data comes back, and it's populated here, which becomes a context for AI to now work on with and answer the question that was asked. So this could be anything, and we are using Pinecone, which is a vector database which will store whatever data you've fed as vector store. It's a vector store, so it stores things as vectors, and you can search those vector stores to get back the data you want, and at the end you send the data that your vector store returns to you as a context to your template, and that will then return that will then be used as a prompt for OpenAI to answer the question that was asked. Basically that. So if you want to see how Pinecone would work with this, I will simply paste the whole block here. So here, Pinecone client is, you can download that from npm. So just add we have few things here. Probably we're not using Langchain. Yeah, it's just Pinecone and OpenAI embeddings. So OpenAI embeddings is probably coming from Langchain. So we will need both Pinecone database. So I will open a new. Okay. So yarn add Pinecone and yarn add Langchain. So with these two packages, we now can import both Pinecone client and store okay, this should be there. Okay, not. So let me find it. So Pinecone client is coming from Pinecone. Yeah, these are specifically in the directories, so that is not being auto-completed. So you import OpenAI embeddings from Langchain embeddings OpenAI. You import Pinecone store from Langchain vector stores Pinecone. And that way we have all our dependencies there. And now what we do is we want to initialize the Pinecone client, and then use whatever index you have, so your Pinecone index name, and then you have your Pinecone store dot from existing index. This assumes that you already have your documents embedded and indexed in your Pinecone data store, and from existing index it requires you to pass in the model that you use to embed and the index name itself. So you have your vector store now, and with vector store you can similarity search. So in this case, how you can get your get the text that user typed in is by using this context activity text. It was quite not straightforward for me to find this piece here, because I couldn't just find a documentation where it was mentioned. So inside context activity.text, you'll find the user's last text. And then once you have similarity searched, you have your results, and you just want first of those. I think you'll get 4 or something, and you just use first of the page content and then return that as your context. So this will now send back whatever your vector store returned you when you search for this query that user had sent. That way you will now have a piece of your own information that you provide your bot with. So here it will be like Acme Corp has its in California. It has history in the state. The something something. So it appears within, say, all this different information. Acme has 1,000 employees as of 2002. Acme is determined to bring accessible people. Okay, anyway, I just can't come up with anything else. So say your Pinecone database, when you search for similarity, it returned this, and now because I don't want to set up Pinecone for this project yet, so I'll just leave it as remove it so that there's no registered function yet. So if you are using Pinecone, that's how you would do the similarity search. And for now, say we did that, and say your vector database returned you this piece of text. Actually, I could use ChatGPT to just make up something, but for now this is enough, because what the user asked for was say where is the headquarters. So if I ask that to the bot now, if that's still running, yeah, it is. So now the headquarters of Acme Corp is located in California. It has been there since 2002 and currently has 1,000 employees. That's some information that it just came up with. This is interesting. Yeah, so it just said more than what it was like asked for, which is fine. Okay, it just made it didn't made up, because I just realized that I had set, say, this on the second line as of 2002. It misinterpreted that. But anyway, this could be any company specific data you have, and then you just put that in context by getting it from your data source, whatever the data source is, your own API, internal APIs, um, some documents or anything. And you can push that into the context and then ask the bot the question. I was going to show you what the logged request prompt was. So here, prompt request, you see that everything is there, and because we just hard coded it here, now it uses the context like this, and you get the answer you were looking for. But say, I think we need to change a bit in our configuration here. So 0.3 seems to be a bit too much. Say, okay, 0.1. Let's see if that changes something for us. Where is our headquarters? Didn't respond. Probably I need to refresh, reload. Okay, now it's responding. Okay, now we have error. What? Okay, authorization denied. This is very interesting. Anyway, I'll just try again. Where is our headquarters? Anyway, it added a bit of information that we didn't ask for, but that's, I think, fine. But because we have reduced the temperature, you will not be seeing much variation in the answers it will provide. Where are we based? We may ask the same question a bit differently. Our headquarters is located in California. Corp has been based in California since this. We are committed to making our services just like a chef who is committed to making delicious. Finally, it added something from chef, so that's nice. But if you want that to be different, you will just have to update your prompt to something different. So here, because we are in simple terms using cooking as parallel concept, so if you just get rid of that, you will just get plain answers without any specific tones or examples. Expert. Yeah. So, oh, this is also not true because we're not doing that now. So here, what I would do is, the following is a conversational AI. Its name is Acme. Acme bot, say. Let's just so use the following piece of context. So Acme bot is an expert in internal of Acme Corp who can answer questions about Acme Corp's state processes. So it doesn't have to be very specific, but this should do. So now we have updated our I think it will, yeah. Where are we based? Our headquarters is located in California. Acme Corp has been based in California. It's like a chef. Oh, it's still using the same old chefs. So maybe updating the prompt didn't actually rebuild the app. So I'm now rebuilding it. Let's try that again. How big is our company? Acme currently has 1,000 employees, which is quite a large number, just like a chef. Oh my gosh. So it hasn't forgotten about the chef it is. Let me stop it and then run it again. Interesting thing is we updated the context and it worked just fine, but when updating instructions it just seemed to work differently. Why is that? Okay, now let's try it again. Oh, now it's using different window. Okay, now let's try. When was our where are based? That sounds much better. How big is our company? Yeah, now it's answering the questions in a very precise way. So probably when we changed those parameters, it didn't actually work. So now after shutting down and restarting the whole app, now it looks like it's having effect. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We have a chatbot that can understand or answer questions from the sources, the data source that is not um, in OpenAI, so external data sources, but using OpenAI's LLM to interpret the context and then formulate the answer in a way that user has asked the question. So that's it. We have a working Teams application. Also, the profile it has is still all from the sample, so if you want to change them, there are lots of places where you would see things like name of the bot and all that things. So I will just like these, I would just go and rename or replace text in the whole application so that every team chef is renamed to something, the name of your own bot and descriptions as well. Only other thing is the images, right? So there are actually there's a assets folder where you have these two images that are not related. They are just there for the readme file. Just ignore me. What I was actually looking for is the manifest where you have these two pictures, color.png and outline.png. These are the icon files where which will be visible to the users on their teams. So you are supposed to update them with your own icons. And apart from that, that's pretty much it. Once you're done, there's a way to publish Teams app, which is something I won't cover because I haven't done that myself, but it's pretty straightforward. You will see the the app in your developer dashboard or something, and then there's a button to just publish it. So if you have configured it just for your organization and everything is fine, you can just press that and then publish your application for your organization. So that's all for today. I hope you found that informative and you're eager to learn more about developing Teams app with AI magic. So thanks for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. I will be posting more of these videos and also streaming live every Sunday. And if you're watching this on LinkedIn, please follow me for content like this. And that's it for now. Have a nice time. Bye bye.